Hey, everyone. If you're joining us, this is Isaiah. We are going to be live in a very short minute. Just give me some time to play with the tech. This is the Saturday night, not fever, but the Saturday night live panel with our speakers from Women Lighting the Way 2025 edition. Just give me another second until we're all over the place, because we're not for now. The whole situation needs a couple of minutes. I need to check some numbers. There we are. Just give me another 2 minutes until I have this link that I can put somewhere else. It's like a lot of jangling pieces. It should be all right now. Let's see. Saving. Hopefully in just 1 second, we'll be live in the amazing Hey Summit platform. Let me refresh and check, and then we can get going. Yes, we are. Perfect. So welcome everyone. There's 9 of us tonight. There might be a 10th one joining us later. We are Women Lighting the Way. This is the wrong captions because we have started. So let's show this one. Live panels with the speakers, with some of the speakers of Women Lighting the Way 2025 edition. We are on Saturday, so day 2 already. I can't believe 2/3 of the thing have already happened, but you know, the good thing with Women Lighting the Way is that we give you 1 week worth of free replay, so you can go and listen to the amazing talks that you might have missed yesterday or today. And believe me, if I say so myself, some of these women are just out of this world. So go and listen to their stories if you haven't. Now, some of these stories are not yet aired. So tomorrow, there's going to be a few more opportunities to listen live and to enter the giveaways, to get freebies, to get offers, to get the pleasure of being enlightened, inspired, and maybe entertained by some of the stories, because not all the stories are dark and gloomy, and even in the dark and gloomy ones there might be some happy moments, or even in the happy ones there might be some dark and gloomy moments. That's what life is about, a general mix-up of every emotion possible, and that's what women's stories are about. They're not straightforward, they're linear, cyclic, spiraling all over the place, and that's what makes them rich. That's also what makes them different from men's stories, and that's why we wanted to share them with you. If you have any comments or questions, Shelley, I see that you are listening to us. Why don't you join us into the group? The link is in the Step Up group up top. That's very nice of you to listen, but you were supposed to come and talk with us. So there are a few questions, obviously, that I'm going to be asking. First, I'm going to introduce a little bit of our speakers and remind you who they are. So I'm going to take this off so that their names will magically appear, hopefully. Yes, they did. And I'm going to go around and I'm going to ask each of you for where they are from. So let's start with Elena. I'll go that way for some reason. You're just under me. So hi, Elena. Where are you joining us from?
Hi, I'm joining from Switzerland.
Switzerland, Lausanne, is it?
Yes, you know that.
Yeah. Elena is actually one of the very few members of speakers of Women Lighting the Way that I have already met and hugged in real life.
Several
Thank
times.
You. Several times, yes. Angela, where are you joining us from? You're muted, darling. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. So I am coming in from Coventry in England, the city where Lady Godiva rode on a horse bareback as a way of demonstrating the rights for the ordinary people against having the taxes raised. So it's a wonderful story of our city.
I love that. I actually visited Coventry many moments ago. So thank you. Christy will be back. I'm guessing she just mentioned that she had mom emergency. Isn't that life with women, right? Vivian, darling, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from Madrid in Spain.
We have a lot of Europeans today. I'm really excited about that. For once, it's not all Americans. Not that we don't like you ladies from the other side of the pond, but it's very cool for us in Europe to, kind of constitute a group of our own also. Hi again, Christy. So where am I? Heather, where are you joining us from?
Everyone, I am joining you from the majestic Sonoran Desert in southern Arizona. It's a beautiful day.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to have to, sorry, I need a 1 minute to invite Shelley, who is not getting the idea. So, Whitney, tell us where you are and maybe ask the next one, please, so that I can do some tech in the meantime.
Sure. I am in Oakland, California, so just across the bay from San Francisco. So it is the middle of the day here. And maybe Christy, where are you from? You're muted, Christy.
Coming back from that mom thing. I am not from here, but I live on the Gulf Coast of Florida in the United States. Oh, and go ahead, Lauren, where are you?
Well, I am American. I'm from Tennessee, but I'm currently traveling the world, and I'm in India, in Chennai, and it's 1:39 in the morning, the middle of the night.
Some of us are brave.
Yeah. And then how about Vivian? Have you gone yet?
No, I think we're missing Janet here.
Or missing Janet? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Janet, and I'm in the U.S., and I'm currently in Arizona, in the Western Valley, Phoenix. The city's called Surprise. Surprise, Arizona.
I love that. some of the American towns have the weirdest names.
Yeah.
But Surprise is a good one, Thank you very much, Janet, and thank you everyone for sharing. This is also one of the things that I really love in the Womenizing the Way, is the fact that it's global. It's not only global for as far as attendees are concerned, because I'm happy to report that we have literally women from all over the globe now as attendees. We have the highest ever attendance of all 4 editions of Womenizing the Way, which is really exciting for me, because it means we are reaching far and wide, and these stories will be heard, and I'm really touched for that. Let me go and repeat a part of the things that I said yesterday, because I have this tendency to repeat myself. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I want to congratulate each and every one of you for daring this crazy endeavor that I put upon you. Come and tell your story. It's no biggie. Just, sit in front of a camera and go and tell your story. And every time I do this summit, every time I can feel how much I'm asking. I know how much I'm asking. First of all, I've done it myself. I've done it 4 times now. And I know how much it is to sit without somebody interviewing you, without prompts, without any, without slides, music, or me teaching. Like, we all know how to teach. That's for many of us, it's our job. But doing that just in front of a camera is not the same thing. Sorry, I really, Shelley is not getting it. She thinks she's an audience person. So I have to be clearer. Sorry, again. Voila. Hopefully she will join us now. So I know what I'm asking. And I know that when you take me on and you agree with that, partly you don't know what you're getting into. So I'm even the alumna And we have Christy among us tonight, who's been a long time alumna. You are, I think, the only one with me who's been here since the beginning. And it doesn't get any easier. And I'm pretty sure that each and every one of us has encountered this moment of, no, let me go and hide. No, let me not. After all, no, let me do something else. So I really want to praise your courage, because not only are you changing your own life by daring to face your story and tell it to the world, but you are changing everybody else's. And that is a big thing to do. So thank you. Thank you so much for trusting me with your stories. And thank you so much for sharing them with the attendees. Voila. I'm tired. I've been working on this for quite a while now. Before we go into the questions that I have, does any of you have something that they want to say right now?
Well, I do. I want to thank you, Isaiah. You've been, I mean, it's amazing watching you grow through 4 years. And I still remember the moment that this was conceived. And you, when Chris was like, I want to do a summit. And you're like, I have the software. We can do it.
I remember that exact moment.
It's embarrassing how many things I can't remember that are important, but that was a moment that like just stands out. Like it really was a conceptual moment. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so grateful that you've, had a little hiatus and you've brought it back, and you've brought it back more of us, and you kick our butts to get all of the things done that we need to do, always with your fuzzy bunny slippers kicking our butts. And I'm just so grateful, and I'm so honored to get to be a part of it again. So bravo to you, Isaiah.
Thank you. And again, none of this could be done without you guys. So thank you as well. It's I love this idea of a weaving of gratitude. Let's do this. Thank you so much. Heather.
I would love to say something on that. Is that Isaiah, I've been just in awe of your capacities for challenging us, and delicately and the most graciously being able to be firm. Is that I knew, I had a knowing that would be, yes, it'd be quite an undertaking. And it came in for me at the right time, and through a woman's circle. And there are many of us here. We start to bond, and we've never physically been in the same room, but we bond. And this is what we're all up to, and is needed more and more in the world. And you are lighting the way by this hosting and bringing people together. I've needed a bit of a kick in the butt for some time, because I knew I was being called to really bring my own innovations into the world, or despite maybe being what one would call successful and accomplished and all these things. But I've known there's something more. And it may not even be related to what I've been doing. And yet it would all be, of course, that everything we do, there's nothing wasted. We're learning from it, we're growing. But yet I need someone to come along and challenge me to, well, just start doing it, start writing about it, start materials. And so I knew it was divine timing when you invited me. And I'm grateful for all the glorious women I'm also getting because of this project. And
that's really interesting, because
we may not see much.
What you're saying about the divine thingy that's happening is very often, even from year one, when Chris Wallace and myself, we came up with this idea in one of Christy Iris's Zoom rooms, actually, during the end of the pandemic. And our first thing was very immediate. We understood that very, very early on, both of us, that Women Lighting the Way is a thing that's happening of its own volition. It's like, at some point it's ready to happen, and then women start coming to me with stories. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this story? Oh yeah, of course. Women Lighting the Way. There we go. But last year I said I was on a hiatus. It said, Christy, actually I had cancer, and nobody came to tell me a story. So it was really interesting. There was no room in my life for that, so it didn't happen. And then the divine timing this year, I'm cancer free and I'm doing other things, and then everybody started piling up with. I met you, Heather, early on in the year, and I thought, oh, I would love to hear this woman's story. And I would just, I wrote it down at the back of my mind, and voila. And it started like this with a few of you. And then in the summer, I had 3 or 4 women reaching out to me and saying, hey, you did this a few years back. Are you still doing it? And I was like, okay. So it's really interesting the way it happens almost of its own volition. But anyway, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about stories. So I have a few questions. Obviously, we're going to go on tangents. That's fine. There is no biggie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a general question, and whoever wants to talk on that will just raise their hand, unmute, and go for it, right? This is just us talking. We had very good feedback from yesterday from the attendees saying that we looked like a comfy group. Let's do that tonight as well. So, did any of you have any fear around telling your story? Yeah, I see you laughing, Elena. That's a trick question. Let me ask it another way. Did any of you not have any fear? Was anyone absolutely comfortable? Does anyone want to talk about the fear? Otherwise, yeah, Lauren, please.
Yeah, this is my second night to do the panel, so I answered this question yesterday, but I can answer it again in a different way because fear shows up in a lot of different ways. Yes, even though I tell my story a lot in books and in all kinds of places, but it still is very to go into the real nitty gritty and explain how you felt, right, and how life impacted you, and to really share those deep emotions is terrifying. It's terrifying to be that vulnerable and that exposed, and it requires kind of stepping into some trust and faith and going, you know what? If someone's going to judge me, then they're going to judge me anyway, right? And if they're going to love me, they're going to love me. And that's really kind of not my work. My work is to be who I am and show up as I am, and then let everybody else sort that out for themselves. And so that's so easy to say, but it's still terrifying to sit and actually do it. But then you prove to yourself that, I did it. I didn't die, and everything is amazing. So yeah. And I don't know if that fear ever goes away of not being enough, not getting it right,
I'm muted, so obviously you can hear me. I was saying I hear you, but you can hear me. But yeah, no, I don't think it does go away. Christy might have an different opinion, but I think that, part of it is there is always this. First of all, for me, the first fear was, what am I going to talk about? Which part of my story is interesting enough for the world to hear? And then very soon after that came what you were mentioning, Lauren. So what are people going to think about? If I share my real fear, are people going to judge me for being afraid of that? Or for having these feelings, these emotions, this life. And it was really interesting that actually once you're in there, it's kind of like we were saying yesterday, once you're out of your comfort zone, it's a whole big adventure, and there's no difference between 1 meter outside your comfort zone or 3,000 kilometers, at least in my opinion. Does anyone else want to have a chat about the fear? Yeah, Angela, please.
Hey everyone. So I would like to share the fear that I experienced and have for a long time about being around social media and kind of coming out and sharing my story. So my purpose this year was to actually get visible. And earlier on in the year, I got the opportunity to write a chapter in a book that's just been launched. And I told a story, and it was such a joy for me to sit down and write and realize so many things about my life where I'd been hiding, basically. And in my professional career, that wasn't the case, but I kept myself small. And I just decided 12 months ago, I was going to stop doing that. And the opportunity to write in the book came up. And then I got another opportunity to write a poem in a poetry book with another lady. And then Isaiah reached out to me and invited me to come to this. And immediately my response was, well, why do you want me to come to this? I have, what have I got to tell you about? And I remembered what I promised myself. I was going to say yes to every opportunity that made me address this fear of being visible. And I'm very nervous at the moment and feeling very awkward. However, I have loved every single time that I have done what I have done, because I can feel myself just growing. And it is just such a wonderful thing. And as if the universe was sending me even more of a challenge. When I finally did do my talk, I just had an operation on my jaw. I could hardly speak. My jaw was really painful. I was up to my eyes in medication. I have no color on my face but I don't care. I really don't care, because I want people to hear my story, not judge me or comment about how I looked, how I spoke. So I hope you enjoy the talk, but I feel like I'm actually embracing the challenge of my fear.
Yeah, that's the part, once and that's part of what I know when I ask women to come into Women Lighting the Way as speakers. Sorry, this is Chris in my head always. I ask for women to come and tell their story. And I insist on, this is not you teaching. This is not you doing the thing that you know how to do. I want the real story. And some women, do the whole thing in whatever way, shape, or form that they feel that they need to do it. But it's very clear to me, and now it's the 4th edition, it's very clear to me that the more you face the fear and really jump into this, the more you will get out of this summit. And it's the same for attendees. The more you listen to these stories, the more you will get inspired, the more you will get different points of view, perspectives on lives, and the more you can enrich your life and be enlightened. Not that we consider ourselves, that enlightened ourselves, but we carry the light. I know that. I just want to interrupt this panel for just a second to welcome Shelley. Hey, Shelley. welcome. I'm awfully sorry. I was sending you the wrong link, so obviously there was no way you could join us. It's not you, it's me, as we're saying. Can you just tell us which part of the world you're joining us from?
Salem, Oregon.
Okay, the US. You're now almost a majority of the Americans. Ah, shush. Welcome, Shelley. So my second question is going to be, so what I do is I ask a general question, whoever wants to answer. Is there anyone else who wants to go on the fear thing, or shall we move on? Okay, so my next question would be, how did you know what to talk about? Shelley, if you are not talking, please mute yourself so that we know that you're not talking. So how did you choose which part of the story we're going to talk about, because Christy and Vivian, to an extent, can be witnesses here that, you know, they've come several times. So we all have more than one story. This idea that, you know, you have to tell your story, to my opinion, is BS. We have so many stories in one lifetime. So how did you choose? Was it obvious? Was it a thing of you know, doing a whole biography thing? What did I do in 1978? Or was it just like, I'm going to talk about this? Anyone? Whitney, yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer this one because I definitely was like, yeah, I have a very clear story. I know what my story is. And as we were doing this, I thought this is Women Lighting the Way is something I will do once because I have one story to tell. And then when that's done, it's done. And then when I started watching other women's talks, I already was like, oh, what do I want to talk about next year? I could do this. I could do this. So, yeah, for me, you know, I have this very kind of clear story of abuse and how that sort of defined my life and the good and the bad. And so I just thought that's my story. But it is interesting now when I think about all these other angles and like a prism, you know, like there's just so many different layers to things I could talk about that are actually just as personal. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for acknowledging that. Despite sometimes one of our stories seems to be taking all the space, all the room in our psyche. And sometimes when we kind of say that story or tell us or write that story, then it appears that actually it was hiding some other bits that might be just as really interesting. So yeah, welcome next year, provided we do it. Christy, I saw you raise your hand previously. Am I right?
Yes. I felt like this was like part 2 from my last talk, and I know you had asked if I wanted it to be my talk from my last talk, which was about me reclaiming my home after becoming a single mom and splitting up. And it's funny, at the end, I said, oh, I wonder what I'll talk about next year. Because I had to go back and watch it. And I'm actually, everyone who watches my thing will get, I'm going to send it out because I wasn't comfortable having it on your, my fear of how personal it was having it on your podcast. It didn't feel appropriate because I feel like this world of us women lighting the way feels safer to share. And I also just want to say the thing about fear, what I feared the most was telling a personal, like being on the personal side of it, is not having as much structure. I feared my brain going hog ass. Oh, can I say that? Hog wild. On, you know, I neurospicy, my brain is not wired to go 1, 2, 3. It's more wired, 7 red, 4 purple. So trying to stay on track and not make it 3 hours long or 3 minutes, like trying to just corral myself into telling a more linear-ish story. I think that was my biggest challenge and my biggest fear. Did I answer the question? That might have been the last question, but
that's
here
fine.
I am. I saw some bobbleheads. It's always kind of nice, right? When we're like, oh yeah, somebody else feels the same way. Okay.
Can you go again for the 5, 7 purple green? I love that. This little bit of you saying the numbers. I love it.
I don't even know. Did I say red 7, 4 purple? Sometimes I say, sometimes when I say that, I say elephant. Sometimes there's an elephant that jumps into the nonlinear
why not
thing. Yes.
But yeah, I hear you when you say that, it seems that sometimes when we're doing this thing, we can feel the part 2 coming.
Yes.
I'll be there next year for part 2.
Yeah.
So
although that was a big plot twist, I could not have fathomed the last call what this would be.
Of course.
And now I'm excited to even do a little follow-up, oh my God, wait till you hear what happened since I did that. Like, just even like now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is also, you mentioned my podcast, so I'm just going to take a little tangent there to remind everyone that past editions of Women Lighting the Way, the talks can be found on my podcast. It's called Isaiah's Inspiring Evenings. It's all over. And most speakers have agreed for their talks to be repurposed as podcast episodes. So in case you want to listen from previous editions from 2021, 2022, or 2023, most of the speakers, their episodes are live, or not live, are on my podcast as a complete episode. Obviously audio only, but they exist, and I'm really happy about that, because what I was saying at the beginning about, or I don't know if I said it today, about the importance for me to create a library, a resource of women's stories to become accessible for the world, so that, you know, we have so many male stories, from Elon Musk to Rockefeller to Jesus, to that extent, you know, everything is a man story. And I just believe that we need more women's story all over the place. So I'm really happy to share them, those of the speakers who have agreed for them to be on my podcast. Voila. Anyone else on the how did you choose what to talk about, or shall I move on to a next question? Shelley, please. Oh, there's a lot of people wanting to talk. Okay. Shelley, I saw you first.
Thank
I'll
you.
come back to you, Heather and Vivian.
Yeah, I think for me it was like a no-brainer. As soon as you and I met and you talked about it, I knew what I was going to be talking about. I didn't know the title or the entryway of being baptized in the kitchen sink as a heretic. I didn't know that that would be it, but that has developed for me and really been put in my face and on my path more and more about heresy, just having the freedom to choose. And I just had somebody show me the, what is it called? Human design. And I'm a heretic in human design. I'm a 2/5. So crack me up. You cannot make this stuff up, okay? Everything, if I go to a psychic fair, you know, the astrology, the tarot, the intuitives, all the readers, if you're listening, Spirit's telling you through all of the angles. And so voila, here is a holy heretic. So anyway, thank you for the opportunity.
I think it's really interesting that, you know, there are those of us who were kind of, okay, this is my story. This is what I'm supposed to talk about. And others had to dig in a different way, to either because they did not dare the story. We had a conversation yesterday with someone who said, this was the story that first came up, but I was like, no, I'm not going to talk about that. Nope, I'm talking about something else. Nope, this big thing that is the elephant there. No, I'm not talking about that because this is too frightening. Others had to just realize that sometimes the elephant was a pretext, like hiding something that was actually more of their truth. And others, like you, Shelley, obviously, it seems that the story was like, this is the story. Now, again, we'll see you next year to see if you have another story. Heather or Vivian, whoever wants to go first. Do I have to name people? Vivian, you go then.
It's okay, I can go. Okay. Well, you know, for me, it's like, sorry. So for me, it's like, it was funny because in my first year in Women Lighting the Way, I shared what I thought at the time, what felt at the time as my story, right? So this is my story, and then in the second edition, lots of stuff had happened in my life, and I knew that I had to talk about that. But the things that what I previously thought, this is my story, it's like this, it no longer fitted, you know. I mean, it is part of my story, of course, because I mean, you don't change the past, right? But it didn't feel anymore. I didn't feel like it defined me anymore, right? And this time choosing the story that I wanted to share was easy, and for me it was very interesting, because the moment that I thought, okay, so how, what am I going to name this? What title am I going to give to this story? And the title that came to me, Crossing Borders, immediately made me realize that the story that I was going to tell had much more to it than what I initially thought. So by telling the story, I realized that there were like more, there were more threads there that I could pull, right? And it really helped me to see like the big picture in a much clearer way. And when I chose the story, there was also a part of me that thought, by sharing this, it's like a way for me to also process it in a different way. Because when you put it into words, it's like everything, all the tiny bits and pieces start to fit together, and you start to see the story like in a different light. So yeah.
Sorry, been talking to myself again, muted. Yeah. Shelley just shared, I think, in the private chat, many threads make the weave. And I think it's beautiful. So indeed, many threads, even the threads that we don't know are there until we actually start pulling. I hear you absolutely with this. I think it's been the way my talks have unfolded is exactly in the same way, that I had one idea and then I started pulling and there was more to it. Thank you. Heather, darling.
I think I'll carry on with that theme, because that's how I arrived at my talk. Was, wow, there's a lot of different things I could talk about. Themes, experiences, and whatever. And I started to just stand back and look at that and say, well, what really feels like it wants to do. It was a universal theme, and this exercise, if you will, to come up with what would be the talk, helped me to understand that in myself, this paradox that had become sort of a barrier for my to come through, this something that cannot be spoken about, it's being withheld, it's not the thing to do in cultural things and these conditionings, and at the same time in making an inventory in a way of what are the things about, was that it became to me there was this theme that would come up again and again about who I really am. No matter what the do is, the who I'm being, that would just naturally shine through. It was the paradox there, is on the one hand, this unspeakable. So for those who haven't listened yet, it has to do with the universal theme of love. When the conditioning is that you don't say I love you. No one says that. There's a lot of this withholding. And I realized, so I started talking to different friends about it, and that there it is. That is so not specific to you. It's really a thing that a lot of people get confused about. Love as source. Source is love, or in my realm, Tao or Qi is love, all that animates life. And if that's what you're living from, that's the story that is what predominates. And it isn't about just these. I had to learn and grow through it, and let go of any concerns about supposed to and how it should look and all that kind of stuff. So I certainly got a little fear about, wow, I'm not sure I can do this, not sure I want to do this, because I felt at some point was I could talk about that endlessly. It was a great exercise to say, wow, we had a generosity of time for this talk. Didn't have to be a 3-minute thing, and nor would I want to ramble on about it. But I became really convinced by those who know me, and I was sharing that I was working with this, playing with this, and they're like, "You've got to do it. You've just got to do it." And as that theme became more, and the title, it just grew in its own way. It's not about me. Like what needed to come through was able to come through. So that, as you had talked to, not scripted, I knew that wouldn't have worked for me. There was that place that said, "Okay, it's time. Turn the camera on. Just go, do it." And it was so fun and liberating. It was really a great experience.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm really interested. I'm going to pick on one thing. The general thing I love, basically, but the time thing. Because you said, "Oh, we had a big time," and I'd said 40 minutes, right, to each of you. I want you to know that the first year we did that, we had not been very clear with Chris, and one of the speakers sent me a video that was 2 hours long. So she basically started talking about herself. She put some music on, and she was doing some art, and she just rambled for 2 hours about her life. And I think she loved doing it. And I sent it back to her saying, "Listen, darling, I love you to bits, but really, no, we can't have one talk be that longer than the others." So length and is not, for some people, talking about yourself for 3 minutes is difficult. For others, you can suddenly end. This person actually said that, they thought, she thought to begin with that it was going to be really hard to last for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. And she ended up doing 2 hours. So it's like, sometimes we underestimate how much we can be full of things that we don't know until we voice them. And that, can go into this process of writing. I don't know if any of you edited their talk. So that might be a question as well. Or was it just like roof and, poof, and then when it's finished, just finished? But it's, there's so many ways to do this. I received videos from some of you who were really cut in bits, kind of, and then glued together, pasted together. So people who were not maybe sure of what order they were going to talk about the things, really interesting. Others just seemed to flow for 40 minutes. It's really, there's so many ways to do this. There is no right way to do it. And I'm very careful when I, because I kind of coach you into this, right? And I'm really careful to not give indications on which way. You should do it your way, basically. And I think that's really important. Janet, do you want a mic? You go.
So, yeah, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the fear. I don't think you saw me raise my hand, but this as well. I thought I would talk about the two latter things, but I never talk about the anorexia. I mean, I'm still so weird enough that I say that, and people they just like, I don't know. I think part of it is that I'm still thin, even though I weigh the most I've ever weighed. I weigh the most I've ever weighed my whole life now, and people look at me and they go like, "And you weighed what?" I mean, they just can't grasp how low I was, right? So, but when I was on this trip with this travel friend, and she had all of these eating things going on, I never thought that I would talk about it until I could step back and the trip was over, and I realized that, I spent weeks with her, and she didn't trigger me. I didn't have anything come up. It was amazing to me that I didn't regress somehow, right? Whether it's with OCD or, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat that. And I realized how much that it really was in the background of my life, and that it just issue. And then I also realized that every place that I've traveled in the last 2 years, this eating disorder thing is prevalent, even in these boony, way out in the nowhere places. And I just can't keep it inside anymore. So I hope that it helped somebody. I don't know, but I recorded that. I have never done it before. A friend helped me. I didn't even know how to record myself. And I happened to be visiting with her, so she had all the equipment, and but I was shaking. I was shaking so hard. My arms were just going, like this, like I was having a convulsion or something, or I had gone into a seizure. And same thing happened yesterday when it aired. I'm just sitting there and I'm shaking. Of course, my mom couldn't get the link to work, so she came over, and oh no, what is she gonna say? It's like it came out about things that I'm writing in the book. It's like, can I even try to put this out here when my parents are still alive? Oh, what am I going to bring up? And what happened from yesterday to today with her was a complete turnaround of supportiveness. And I'm so sorry that I didn't even know that this was going on with you. And I don't know. I don't even know right now. I just feel like something blew open and something shut down at the same time,
It's really fascinating, Janet, how if you listen to yesterday's panel, Irini was sharing something similar with her mom. So I'm going to go here and say that I know my mom was moved to tears during my first talk, and she actually phoned me from Greece saying, I need to hug you. So when are you coming? It was like, I almost, really powerful thing. And I'm going to go on a tangent here again, or maybe it's not a tangent at all, but maybe that's also how we heal, by really telling our stories. And it's about, we heal first ourselves, we heal our relationships, and then we model that for the world. So I'm going to go and, just give us some congratulations here. Because it does change everything when we own our stories, and when we decide that this is the way it happened for you, and it's not about guilting somebody else, parents or whoever. It just happened. That's the way I felt it. And that's what I need to heal. Thank you so much for your braveness, your courage, and your beauty.
Thank you. I'm going to go.
We got a lot of congratulations and celebrations in the chat. I'm going to go and check just a minute if we have live attendees asking questions, which happens sometimes. Not right this minute, so we can go on and talk amongst ourselves, and we'll have the comments during the replay, hopefully. But yeah, thank you so much, Janet. And the fear is nothing once we look at it from the other side, isn't it? And I hear the trembling and the thing. It's just, it can feel so big, but at the same time, the impact that you're going to make with your talk is so huge as well, because this talk is talking to so many people in so many places of the world, just like you mentioned. And so I also not only want to congratulate, but I want to thank you on behalf of every girl who's been having these weird situations with food and eating. And thank you. Thank you for bearing witness. Can you see the bobbing heads? When you got the bobbing heads, you'd be happy. So, Where was I? You got me emotional now, so I got lost. So before we go into the next bit, which is more about the others, I would like, do you have one word for your experience in this summit? Obviously, everybody's thinking now, so I have to ramble for a couple of minutes until you find your words. You don't have to, right? But if you have one word that you want to share with the attendees for summing up your experience in this.
I'll go. Validation. Validation.
For me, it's enlightening.
I'd say for me, it was freedom.
For me, it was connection.
The first word that came up for me was relief.
And for me, it was visibility.
For me, it was courage.
For me, it was
For
joy.
me, it was truth.
Isn't it amazing that there's 10 of us and there's not one similar word? Oops, Janet must have pushed the wrong button. She'll be back. There she is. I don't know. I haven't thought about one word. I think I'm going to go for sisterhood. Because I'm holding this position in this. So the next general theme that I want to go into is some of you, most of you have listened to each other's talks. Do you want to talk about that? Was there one particular talk or a general impression, something that came out when listening to each other's talks that just was like either a revelation, a surprise, some emotion? Was there anything? And you don't have to, right? I know that you've done the work, and sometimes, you know, there's so much that nothing might come to mind right now, but I think it's also part of the fun is becoming a listener as well of stories. So is there anyone who wants to talk on that? Janet, yeah, please.
So this is my first time ever doing this, and I was totally blown away by all of you, how you didn't seem, you just talked like from your heart. You know, I know that sometimes there wasn't a notebook, you know, or, you know, but it was like you just went on and on and on and on, like you didn't even need to breathe. You like you just let it pour out. And I in mine, for me, I was so nervous at the first part. I was really amazed by the end, how I really was just kind of, you know, looking at a bullet and knew how to keep track and not forget something, but yet I really was just speaking. I wasn't reading anymore. And with my head injury, I forget things all the time. You know, I mean, I'll know it 1 minute and 2 minutes later, I can't remember what it was. So I think that's something that's going to be really interesting for me when I do this, is to see how much I can trust myself just to speak from my heart and not let my head go, you know, like let it, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to have photogenic memory anymore like I used to. I can speak what I need to say and trust it. That's where I'm hoping to. So if you would have asked me yesterday, I would have said, oh, I'll never do this again. I'm just not good enough. Oh, I don't have enough experience with tech. I listened to all of you, and I wanted to, I couldn't even get chat to work. I mean, it was like I was a total, I just couldn't figure out. I was in the wrong platform yesterday to the panel. I mean, it was like everything was just like up and backwards, and I didn't know how to do anything, even registering to hear you guys. I don't know if I'm going to get what you had to offer, because push redeem, it say you have to register, and yet I go into register and it says I'm registered, and I'm like, I have no idea what end is up anymore. So
let me reassure you, first of all, if for some reason you're not registered as an attendee, I will get you in tonight so that you will get the things. There's no way. But I really think interesting what you just said. Can you mute yourself, because there's an echo when you're not talking? Thank you. There's an interesting thing that you said for me that is really, there's a part where we listen to each other and we think there's an echo, there's a resonance, and there's another part where we might start the I'm not good enough, they're better, they know better, I'm the odd one out. Shelley said, oh, I'm always outside. But it was actually my mistake. I was sending her the wrong link, right? So it was not you who were not good enough to enter this panel. It was just me who stupidly was sending you a wrong link. And Janet, you said the same. You all seem to be talking very easily. Wrong. I know for a fact, because I've talked with each and every one of you before when you were recording your talks, that for some of you, it was really hard. It's not just you. So I really invite all of you to remember that, and attendees the same, please. No, you're not less than. There's not a group of better than you people, and you are the lesser than person. This is bullshit. Sometimes you're worse than other people in tech, but you're a hiker, Janet. I can't, to save my life, I cannot walk 5 kilometers. You're hiking Mount Kilimanjaro, for heaven's sake. And I think you're older than me. I could not even go to the grocery store by foot, So yeah, I know the tech. I'm better at you than tech, but you're definitely better than me than hiking. So, Shelley, sorry, interrupt me, please. I'm rambling.
No, you're not rambling. It was delightful. You just prompted a memory. I was in a class once where the instructor was saying, wouldn't it be bad to find out that you'd climbed the wrong mountain? And everybody was nodding their head in agreement. And I'm going, no, you climbed a mountain. You climbed a mountain. I don't care if it was Kilimanjaro or Mount Everest or Mount Hood here in Oregon. You climbed a freaking mountain. Yay for you. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah, no, you definitely had climbed a mountain, Janet. Here, a tech mountain, and a fear mountain. And, we all did climb some kind of a mountain. Heather, you're shaking hands. I'm guessing you want to talk. No, you're not?
I was cheering Janet. I am cheering Janet. But it also feels, timing wise, is this, the comparing thing, right? That just is the killer of our own joy and our own uniqueness. And so to be breaking free of that and stand in our own magnificence and beauty and everything about us that can indeed inspire others. And in general, with this whole project, I've just been so astounded by the strength of us, the resilience of us, the capacity for being able to see one another and hold the space for one another, celebrate one another in our totality and in our respective individual, unique ways of being and showing up in this world. And more of that, thank you. It's much needed in the world. Keeps elevating each of us to rise.
Yeah, no,
rise and
we'll
shine.
go for some. Yeah, we'll go for some of those then. There's way less fancy tricks in this particular software than in YouTube, in Zoom, where you can go all crazy with emojis, etc. There's not that many here. We just have those little fireworks thingy. So when I'm really happy, you'll have those. But yes, thank you for sharing around this idea that comparison is basically completely useless. Sorry to be blunt, but and that the amazingness of this particular project, but any other project that you do with other people, is actually that if everyone can stay in their individual beauty, individual truth, That's what creates a rich, I don't want to go tapestry because that's ChatGPT's word. It seems to be using tapestry every other line with me. I'm like crazy. Stop with the tapestry already.
I'm objecting to that. I used Tapestry long before ChatGPT came along. I'm not letting that word be taken away.
Okay, you go then. Then
We'll
I can
leave
use
it
it too then. If you
Tapestry.
give me permission, if I got permission from you, Lauren, I will go and use tapestry
Okay.
and say that the richness of it is because we are each our own particular color and particular thickness of and particular density of thread. And comparing one thread to another seems a little useless. Thank you. We've reached the hour thing, so I'm going to switch us to a little different topic. We're here for 90 minutes. If some of you have to go, I would understand, obviously, but you know, I warned you before. The next thing I would like us to talk about is what would you like attendees to take away from your talk or from the summit in general? What do you think is important for you, for them, if that means something? Don't know if I'm making myself clear. Can somebody bob their heads if it's clear? Thank you, Vivian. So, Whitney, yes, be my guest.
Okay, so I feel like this sounds a little basic or even a little trite, but I really do think it is, for me, the takeaway is that your story matters. That's something that I think you hear in different contexts, but when you're, doing your story and filming it on camera, and it's gonna be heard by hundreds of women, maybe thousands, it does change a little bit, like the value of your story or how important it feels to you or how relevant it may feel to other people. And I think also just the act of telling it, like I said, my word is relief. I do feel some sort of thing, I don't know, some sort of release of having publicly shared my story in a more unplanned, unscripted way, not like a talk that I'm giving where I'm going to rehearse it 10 times. And then listening to other people's stories that some were very long and biographical, some were kind of a shorter window of time in their lives, and they all had incredible meaning. So I think for more women to realize that their stories are more interesting probably than they realize, more relatable to other people, and more valuable to actually share and to tell and to hear yourself sharing your story is an incredible experience, an incredible gift to you and to others.
And this is not basic. Just to say, you started your thing by saying this is going to be basic. I don't think it is. I think it's really, besides, I believe that basic and simple things are very usually underrated, but I don't think it's basic. I think, kind of getting to a point where if I can be the inspiration for any woman to consider that her story matters and that her life matters, I've done my job, basically. That's enough. And if that's basic, then, good for basic. We need that. Anyone else has something that they hope the attendees will take away? Shelley?
Yeah, I think, especially for those who are listening to this, to go back and re-listen to each one of our words, because those are threads and they weave together a glorious epilogue, I think, to what we've done. And I'm going to go back and listen and write them all down because I want to see. I'm a visual sometimes. I've got to see it. And about the thread, Isaiah, there's old Chinese custom. All my Mexican patients would always wear a little red thread with a safety pin on their underwear when I was a midwife, and it was for protection. They didn't know why, but they knew that grandma said they had to wear it, and they had lost it through the years of its meaning. But the Chinese have it. So we do have these threads, and we'll just weave ChatGPT into the thread too.
Well, get me started on weaving, because there's I've been saying that to myself, that women used to gather together to sew, to knit, to prepare the wool, to weave, to create garments, blankets for the community. We have now gifted that to the supermarkets, basically. And we have, as women, lost this possibility for sisterhood gathering, circle women, women who circle to do something, not just to talk, which I've got nothing against talking, as you know, but there's so much power in the doing things together. And one of the most important things that befell on women was textile in any way, shape, or form. And I believe that owning the weaving, owning the sewing, owning the knitting, the crochet, and maybe even doing it together is one way back to sisterhood, community, to this is my soapbox, so I might take a while here. But basically, shooting patriarchy in the balls, if I may, because the main thing is, what happens is women have lost sisterhood, and they started competition or comparison, and the one way out of this is definitely sisterhood and listening to each other's stories, meeting each other's stories, and maybe doing some things together. I have my crochet here, so just in case, Again, Shelley, please be my guest.
Thank you, dear. Yeah, I just want to give you an example of a demonstration of that. I've had 5 or 6 women's retreats where I have every single minute packed with doing. And the last 2 were very lowly. There was not a lot of interest, and it's the economy, I say, and all this. But I'm having one in January, and I have so much interest in it. And you know what it was? It was a total unplugged retreat. Bring your crocheting, bring your book, bring your journal. I have one thing from Friday to Sunday morning, one just vision boarding, and the rest of the time you can walk in the forest, you can forest bathe, you can sit by the fire and knit, or you can nap the whole weekend. And people want to come to that more than, I may have to book another cabin. So, oh darn. Anyway, and it's and so it is about just sitting and being, not doing.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
And telling stories, because that's what women used to do.
Yes.
During the weaving, they told the stories, right?
Yes.
Angela.
So with regards to storytelling, one of the aspects of my job was, before I retired, was to set up a theatre group for teenagers who were having drama taken out of their curriculum. And they came to me as their youth work manager to ask if we could put that on the programme. And one of the things that actually happened every single week was 20 minutes of storytelling, and nobody was late. And for those teenagers, I still get the tingle on the back of my neck. The stories that they shared, and the two youth workers and the director that we had from the theatre company working with us, every single person shared a story. And when we had the visit in the city of Coventry for the City of Culture in 2021, the video of us telling the storytelling sessions in the drama group was the opening session of the celebratory video that was made Sorry, not the celebratory video, the video that was submitted for the entry for that. And we won it. We actually won the City of Culture. And I believe storytelling, when we do it with children and teenagers, is just such a powerful way for them to connect. And they realize so many things about themselves in those very young years. And obviously, when they go off to jobs and university, my contact with them diminishes. But I just hope that they take that with them wherever they are. So I just wanted to share that. With teenagers, it can be so wonderful as well.
Absolutely. Stories have a weird way of, staying in our hearts. Ramping up to the summit, I wrote a series of blog posts around stories, around the power of stories and the permanence of stories in the human history, or her story, if you want, but in the human past, let's call it this way. And I did some research to do that, and I actually thought, it goes back to the first caves where these people used to paint and carve their hunts, and that was a story. And then, I'm not going to go and parade too much of my Greek heritage, but tragedy. We did that. That's a story for you, right? That's stories, actually. And these stories have perpetuated, or they lived. I just saw recently that they're doing a new version, a cinematographic version of the Odyssey, which is, I feel proud, 4,000 years old story, and still somebody said, hey, I'm going to make a movie about that, and Hollywood said, yeah, well, sure, we'll pay for that. And it's like, I'm so floored by the permanence, and how much of these stories were also warnings, or telling us about what the things we should really worry, the wolves in the big forests, things like that. But when we go to our individual stories, what really hits me, and what I would like attendees to really come out with, is a step further than that. And that is that you are not only the character of the story, you are the freaking writer. You're the author of that freaking story. So you can start writing a new story for yourself today. You don't have to go on living the story that you have been told was yours, or that you have been believing is yours for that many decades. You can change your story. You can write a new middle. I'm not even talking about writing a new ending, because nothing's ending right now. But you can start a new beginning. You can write a new beginning. You can write a new messy middle if you feel like it. Or you can, just write the idea that the main character, aka you, can turn on the left instead of going to the right on that particular morning, and then you end up in Chennai, like Lauren, or you decide to go to Mongolia, like Janet, and you don't even have to go to Mongolia or to India to change your life. You can just change grocery stores, and that might, make you complete different day, week, month life. But this, I would really like attendees to take away, that they're more than their story. They are the author, the creatrix, the writer of that story, and that they can write whatever freaking story they feel like writing, including the mistakes and all the wrong things that we might go do in the process. But claim that power back, that power of the creator. Does that make sense? Or was I on my soapbox again? Elena.
And I'd like to add that we often we wait until we have it all together before we can tell something, before we can tell the story. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And all of us, we don't have, you were talking about the ending. There's no ending. We're still on it. We're still going on with our stories. We're still weaving them, and it's not finished. It's not over. And like, everybody can tell this story, and it doesn't have to have the perfect ending. And we haven't figured out maybe where we're going next. So I'm talking for myself here, like, you know, yeah, I've always thought that I should wait until maybe this is, you know, I'm completely healed, which will never happen. But, you know, it's people often they think that they can't tell a story until they figure it out completely, and it's not true. And yeah, we've all have, I think, yeah, you were talking in the beginning of stories, rags to riches, and yeah, it's not, we're not saying, oh, I'm perfect now and I have it all together. No,
I don't think anyone's got it all together.
absolutely
Don't
not.
get me started on perfectionism, because perfection is basically dead, right? Literally, I mean, anything that is perfect means it cannot be improved, right? So it's not moving anymore. It has to be stable, right, to be perfect. And let me just remind you, what's the only stable, immobile thing in the world? A dead thing, right? Anything living is moving all the time.
It
So
remi-
nothing is finished
It
until we're
reminds
dead.
me of a teacher I had long ago. It was saying, like, if you want balance, it was alternative medicine, you know, natural health, and if you want balance, it means you're dead. The real balance is death.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
Perfection is literally when something stops moving because it cannot be improved, aka dead. So up until then, you know, we'll go right and left and make mistakes and write new stories and rewrite everything, and yeah, go for the cliffhangers, like Shelley was writing in the chat. Heather, you wrote something really interesting in the chat box. Would you like to talk about that, please? Instead of me reading what you wrote.
Sure. Okay, I wrote writing our stories, talking through our stories. We can take a new perspective. We can stand in a different place. We can use a different voice. That ultimately, for me, I would submit it's been about helping me in the journey itself. And that's really powerful for women. Seeing this more and more, perhaps for the first time, to really come to ourselves and keep changing. It's kind of irrelevant what's out there until we can come home to ourselves. And this is a very powerful part of a storytelling odyssey. So that's been part of the fun of this project, and witnessing
Thank you.
mine
Yes,
and others.
Yeah, I agree. But mine and others, absolutely. Thank you, Heather. Lauren, you're raising your hand.
I'm so happy that the word journey finally came up, because this is what, to me, a well-lived life is unconcerned about the destination, you know, because we can change our mind about where it's headed at any time. But if we're in love with the journey, then, you know, we've already succeeded and we've already created a beautiful and amazing life, no matter what is going on. Right. And that's what I would love for everyone. I was talking with a friend who was questioning, she was going, did I really enjoy this place so much because it was a great place? Or did I enjoy it because I was so in love at the moment and everything looked different to me because I was in love? I'm like, yes, it looked different, but you can have that feeling all the time. And that's what we're trying to cultivate, is this feeling of being in love with life. So we're enchanted with everything, right? And loving the journey. And then suddenly it doesn't matter where you're going or how long it takes to get there. That's my favorite.
Yeah. 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 I just don't have anything to add to that one. Thank you. So my next question would be, you know, there's going to be women listening to this, to the talks, with a desire to begin their, what do you want to call it, self-improvement, healing, self-development, where would you advise them to start? So we have Heather suggested back home. Lauren would go on a journey. Do you have any, you know, I don't like the word advice, but
I would like to add a little bit to that, in that, so a lot of people that I talk to are like, well, I can't just sell everything and travel the world. I'm like, that's not the point. The point is figuring out what it is that your heart wants. And it might be right here in your house. It might be in your yard. It might be in your neighborhood, or it might just be inside of you. And that would be my advice, is to spend time with yourself and understand what your true longing is. And I mean, is my longing to be in 20 countries? No, my longing is to have a lot of experiences and to meet a lot of different people. And I could probably figure out a way to do that without going anywhere, right? So figure out what the real desire of your heart is, and have the confidence and the faith and the knowing that if you can dream it, the world can deliver it. And then just start being curious and exploring ways to bring it about.
Yeah.
And have fun with it. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Joy. Whitney, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, I would just add to that kind of, I think a lot of women may be like, well, I don't know what my heart's longing is. I don't even know how to hear the longing of my heart. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to figure this out. And so just to kind of add to that, I would say, is to follow that curiosity. You've heard a talk, someone mentioned something and you're like, huh, what's that? I mean, that's all it takes, is to start listening to yourself, is to just whatever kind of seed you noticed, what did you hear? And you were like, oh, that's interesting. Just start there and just follow that little breadcrumb trail and see where it takes you.
Yeah, absolutely. Or the absolute reverse of that. This is fucking triggering me. I don't want this at all, ever. That's when I ask, are you sure? The resistance, every time I have this, oh, but I can't sell everything and come and live in the, and there's, oh, but do I want that for me? Or do I, listen to every part of you when you react, basically, to one of our talks or to anything in life, whether it's a little seed of excitement and joy and, oh, I would like this, more of this, like Whitney said, or whether it's something that rings so annoying with so much power of annoyance, that's also interesting to investigate. I see the bobbing heads. I like it. Vivian?
I wanted to share a story, a little story. This is something that happened to me early in my coaching career. I had a lady that came to me because she wanted me to help her like her job, right? She had this job that she absolutely hated, okay? But according to her was the dream job. Okay, this was the dream job because she had a good salary. She was doing what she had trained to do. She had been trained to do. She had all the perks, all the things, right? But she absolutely hated it. So she wanted me to help her like the job. Like I was like, what? I mean, she thought that she was wrong. The job was right, but she was wrong in not liking the job, It's like, oh my God. Of course I told her, the job was wrong for her. She was right in not liking the job. She just had to find another job. But she would not have that. I mean, she was wrong. She had to fix herself in order to start enjoying the work, right? So I'm sharing this because sometimes it's hard for ourselves to trust ourselves. Like I believe that we all know we all know what we want, and we all know the next right step, right? It's within us. But it's like what Lauren was saying, when you listen to your heart, when you listen to what, you know, what your real longing is, that's the truth. And even if it's, you know, even if it's counterintuitive, even if it's taking you, like, you know, even if it's telling you to sell everything and just travel the world or whatever it is, it might sound crazy, but that's your truth, and that's what you need to follow. So it's like having the courage to trust yourself, to really listen to what's inside you, to what where your heart is telling you to go, and just trusting that whatever it is, and having the courage to really listen. That's, yeah.
I love the idea that we are so easily convinced that we are wrong, and that some job or some definition by somebody else is right. And I'm like, first of all, why should there be one right and one wrong thing in everything? Just, you know, just putting that out there. Another soapbox of mine, but I won't go in there. But, you know, and then even if we agree that there's something right, there's always a right and wrong way, which I don't, but let's agree for just 1 second about that. Why is it that women are always told that they are on the wrong side anyway? Yeah, sorry. Soapbox again. Angela, you raised your hand, sorry.
So what I'd like to share is that I actually believe that for some women, the layers that get stacked upon layers, it's not easy for them to just be able to say, I'm going to listen to my heart. They may be not even aware of that yet. And I suggest, or my offer here would be, to buy a beautiful book and start journaling, because that will then start to, in time, show up the gold dust for them. That's my...
Yeah, there is, to my opinion as well, there is no easier and deeper at the same time way to ourselves than journaling. And I'm reading good things in the chat box here. Shelley wrote, one begins not by becoming, but by remembering. Ta-da! We're gonna have you write the quotes for the next summit, Shelley. You're amazing. Thank you. You know, the things that we put on top of the door. Thank you. So we are nearing the end of tonight's panel. I just want to ask another question, which would be my last one, I think. What would you say to anyone who's considering joining this summit, whether as a let's call it involved attendee or as a speaker? What would your advice be? And I'm not fishing for compliments here. This is not the what I'm looking for. Christy, darling.
I think it's take up space. Like claim your story, your space. You matter. That even if you don't think what you have to say is important, it probably is to way more people than you think. And I think we are so conditioned as women to hold back and, you know, I won't take up that. I'm going to leave that space for you. And instead, like, be heard, be seen, like, be vulnerable, belong to the collective, and don't hide, because most likely the thing that you are most scared to share is what is going to change somebody else's life.
Can I just say, Christy, that because, you know, I know you enough, I really want to invite anyone who doesn't know you to listen to your talk and to get your freebie and run into this idea that taking up space starts at home. Of course,
Thank
it
you.
starts in your body, but also so many things are wrong in our homes. And I'm definitely going to use the word wrong, where we are closing up the space. We are boxing ourselves in our spaces, whatever the space is, whether you live in a tiny, tiny flat or a huge house. And the use we make of that space is so important and so ignored. And I seldom do that, but I really think that you have something to offer the world that the world needs, and that is completely unique. So please go and look at Christie's amazing talk and learn about her island of Ebb. Not that any other talk is less interesting, but I just want to honor our alumna here. Thank you for making me the honor of coming for a fourth time. It's just and I love this idea that we have more stories. So I will always encourage alumna. Although if all of you want to come back next year, there's going to be no room for newbies. So anyone else has something that they want? Yeah, Shelley, please.
I would encourage someone to come with or without trepidation, that it's a supportive sisterhood, and to watch out for bunny slippers.
Okay, yeah, but that's if you do know that if I did not have my bunny slippers, I would have big kick-ass boots, and that would be more hurtful. But I know on that topic, I know that there is such a very thin line between the moment one of you says yes and the moment they start running for the woods, that if I don't kick your ass a little bit, you will run for the woods. And that's also exactly comes to add what you were saying, Shelley, which is with or without trepidation. There is trepidation, and we just have to pass that without running for the woods. And that's my job. I think I do it quite all right, because none of you has left and you're still here. But there, what Lauren calls a well-loved life, I think I call living a goddess life, but I always add undeterred. And part of the determinants can be fear. And nope, we won't have that. Fear might be here, but it's not part of the game. It's not. It doesn't stop us. If it didn't stop Janet, for heaven's sake, it can't stop any of us.
And there's a group of sisters. The sisterhood is the key part. And for some who've not had good family dynamic, even that alone is a put off. Being in a sisterhood, and do I trust the community? But once you're in, from my experience, I can only say everybody was helpful. Somebody was always online to say, hey, try this. So I
thank you so much. That's also really important for me, that we manage to create some community within the speaker community or speaker sisterhood, and that indeed I'm not, because I could never do that if you didn't help each other too, because I'm just one person, and there's 25 of you, so 24. I want to go towards an end for this, so I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. I want to remind anyone who's watching this blah, 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 that there is still one day worth of live talks, so you can come tomorrow and listen to those. That in this last day, there is the amazing VIP speaker, Mary Reynolds Thompson, who is one of my amazing mentors. And I'm really, really excited about her talk, because she managed to, she chickened out and wanted me to interview her. She didn't want to do it on her own. Ha ha ha. No, I'm joking. We agreed on an interview. But the way she tells her story is actually through her 5 Wild Soul Women archetypes. And that is such a massive, for me, it has been a massive discovery this year, her work. And so I'm really excited for the world to hear her story as well, and to learn about these 5 Earth archetypes, Wild Soul Earth archetypes. So this is tomorrow. We have another panel tomorrow night with some of you and some of last nights and some newbies. I think everyone will have come to one or the other panels, which is really cool. I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. I want to thank all of you for coming and playing with me all through Women Lighting the Way. And yeah, I think that's about it. If anyone else has got something, just remember that if you do come and listen live to the talks, you are entered for a giveaway from each of our speakers. If you are an attendee already, you will get 1 freebie from each of our speakers, and that will happen after the replay period is over. And yeah, I think that's about it. Did I forget anything? It's kind of late here in France, so maybe I did. And if I did, I will say tomorrow. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Please don't go anywhere, speakers. I would like to say goodbye to you properly. But before we go, because last night I did it and they loved it, here you go. You are stars too. Bye for now. Thank you.